been a while when I announced I was going to do this, and when I said I'm going to do it, because I can't continue my Dark Castle Entertainment series right now because I can't get into rock and roller like at all. So what I'm going to do, So I started juggling. I could do a sequel-a-thon 4, which I'm still planning at some point, or I can finally do a Remake-A-Thon, and that's what we're doing right here, right now. Remake-A-Thon. I'm going to take a look at about 20 remakes. That's right, 20. I was 15 and I made it into 20, so shoosh. Now, quite a few of these I haven't seen the original 4, including this first one we're talking about, which is Planet of the Apes. Alright? But I know the basics of the first movie, right? Charlton Heston plays this astronaut, goes into space, ends up on this alien planet where the gorillas, or apes, are dominant and the humans are timid and don't speak. And it ends with a twist ending that is notorious by now, and we'll talk about later in this review for this one. There's a comparison that we need to talk about. Yeah. So I, of course, knew about the original growing up. Never really watched it, never really had the inkling to. And then, when I was in middle school, this movie came out. And it was talked about in my school. We talked about it so much that when it came out on physical media, we watched it in our auditorium in our middle school. It was if you got your assignment done, you could go watch the movie. And I was able to do. I remember my teacher at the time was obsessed with the part where I think Michael Clark Duncan's goes, "Bow your head." Yeah, it's a small part movie, but he just kept saying that, and yeah. And the first time I watched this, I actually enjoyed it. I still enjoy watching it, even though I know it's not a good movie. But there are good things about it. Like, when I first watched this, I had no idea it was Tim Burton. Man, the guy that brought me Batman Returns, Edward Scissorhands, what other ones had I watched at that point? I'm sure there's others that I watched at that point of his movies. But yeah, Tim Burton. To me, this was, Big Fish, that's one. Big Fish to me was the last good Tim Burton movie before he decided to become all weird. I wouldn't say this one is like, I don't know. It's like at a certain point he just went weird with his stuff. This is not that. You look at this world, okay? Big positives here. The world, if there's anything that Tim Burton can do with his movies, it's create a very unique world. And this looks very, not unique to the original, but a little more developed. It's like a wasteland, but there's also forests and everything. And plus the effects done by Rick Baker, the same guy who did the Werewolf from London and The Howling, by the way, did the creature effects, and they look fantastic. And you got actors, very good actors playing the roles. Paul Giamatti, Helena Bonham Carter. It's a Tim Burton movie, after all. Tim Roth. And you have cameos from Charlton Heston, who was in the original film, and the actress who played Nova in the original movie, right? Mark Wahlberg is doing his best. He's not terrible, but he's okay. He's in the middle. You have Estelle Warren, who's sort of the main female, the replacement of Nova from the original, and she does jack shit nothing because they decide that Mark Wahlberg's character has to have some kind of connection with Helena Bonham Carter's gorilla character. Yeah, Michael Clark Duncan is the lead guard. It's pretty cool too. He's the one who goes, "Bow your head." It's pretty cool. We get callbacks, of course, to the original with a reverse of the line. In the original film, it's a big moment in the original film because the humans don't talk. So when Taylor, Charlton Heston's Taylor, yells out, "Get your stinking hands off of me, you damn dirty ape," it's a big moment. Here they reverse that and it's, "Get your stinking hands off of me, you damn dirty human," because it's I call it Duncan's gorilla guy that does it. Yeah. And then we got Charlton Heston playing the father of General Thade, who is Tim Roth's character, in a scene that uh, we're lucky to have because Tim Roth and Charlton Heston did not get along. Uh, Tim Roth is very much in favor of gun control. Charlton Heston was the head of the NRA, so awkward. I pronounce you awkward. Yeah, but so they did not get along. But the scene comes out pretty good. But again, you got another line delivery where he gives Thade a gun because that's what you want to do in this situation. And he says, damn them all to hell, as the character dies. Yeah. The main plot of the film is basically the same, where you have an astronaut in space. He goes through a weird space cloud thing and ends up on another planet, right? In this film, they're testing gorillas, and he's on a space station. And they're testing apes, which they keep calling monkeys. Their chimpanzee, which is also an ape, is named Heracles, and they send him through. And when Mark Wahlberg goes after him, he ends up on this planet. During which he organizes like a big uprising from the humans, and even some of the gorillas, like Paul Giamatti's character, who is not fully turned, but he's not really bad either. He's kind of in between. He does pull a gun on him, but then they don't, And Helena Bonham Carter's character also go with them. And he's following the signal, which he thinks is going to lead him to the space station, but he finds that the space station is actually crashed on the planet. And we find out that the people and the gorillas of this planet, the people are the descendants of the humans that were on the space station, and the gorillas are the descendants of the apes and chimpanzees that were on the station with them. And somehow the gorillas became the dominant species of the planet and not the humans. I'm not exactly sure how, and again, I haven't seen the original, so I'm not sure how they explain it there. There's the twist, they don't, even if they do explain it. I don't know. Sorry, my nose itches. Also, Chris Christopherson is in this, and he barely gets anything to do, I think, but yeah. And so there's an uprising, not an uprising, but a war coming, because the apes, led by General Thade, attack, and then Mark Wahlberg uses the engines to fire and roast a few gorillas. And when you think it's like all over and then everything's going to go down the toilet now that they've done this, Heracles shows up because he was launched further into the future. And the gorillas then bow to him as their god. That's 2 of 3 twists in this film. The first one is that they're all the descendants of the people that crashed the station. Heracles jumped farther into the future. And yeah. So, throughout the film, Estelle Warren's character is supposed to be the Nova of this movie, like I said, but they decided that instead of giving her character development with Mark Wahlberg, all that kind of character development that the character would have is with Helena Bonham Carter's gorilla character, ape character, whatever. She's the first one that goes over to his side to help because she feels something in him, she senses something, and they become allies, and they're connected, and yeah, she wants to help them, so yeah. And this all leads to something very confusing at the end of the film. Not the twist ending, we'll get there, but so Marky Mark decides he's going to get in his ship and go back to the cloud to get back to where his time is. Okay, but didn't they say at the beginning of this film that they can only go further into the future? Is that, or at the beginning of the film, but on the thing they can only go further into the future? I don't know. I don't know. But you gotta think that they must have landed, that crashed on this planet. So this planet must have been underneath them where they were that time, and they crashed. But this is not Earth, though. It's another planet. Because in the original it was Earth. We'll get to it, but it's just another planet, right? It's not Earth, and they crashed, right? I'm assuming. And then he jumped into the future. They didn't go into the cloud? I don't know. I guess I didn't understand it. I don't know. So yeah, he takes off, which is supposed to, he's getting ready to take off, which is supposed to send him back where he came from, which is not how that works, but maybe he's going backwards, so send him backward. I don't know. But because whoever wrote this was obviously confused as to who the love interest should be, we get a confusing thing where Estelle Warren, who's supposed to be Nova, she kisses him, which you sitting there going, wait, was there something between them? They barely had anything, like at all. And you're very confused. And then he kisses Helena Bonham Carter's gorilla character, which honestly they had more between them than he did with Estelle Warren, but again, it's gorilla woman. Yeah, and so he leaves them behind, jumps in his ship, and he lands on Earth in Lincoln Memorial. Only... So, before I get into this, so the film's ending, the original film's ending is a classic ending, in which Taylor and Nova, after leaving the others, walk on the beach, and he ends up finding the remains of the Statue of Liberty, which implies that this planet is actually Earth. Far in the future, in a post-apocalyptic future where the gorillas are in charge. And that's where he reads, "You maniacs!" Or reads, where he says, "You maniacs! Damn you! Damn you all to hell!" Classic movie ending, and nice twist. So, clearly, there are two ways about this. Clearly, Tim Burton wanted to, to one-up that ending. But also, it's rumored that he decided to do a ridiculous ending because he knew he wasn't coming back for a sequel. So he decided to do, it's rumors, decided to do a ridiculous ending, saying, okay, that's someone else's business to follow. They can follow that. I'm out. Basically. Because he wasn't coming back for another one because he had such troubles on this film. So it was his way of just, giving a middle finger, basically, and saying, this is the ending we're going to have. Now, again, that's just rumors. It's not confirmed, so don't at me if I'm wrong. I'm just saying. Okay? So I told you the original film's ending, so this one. So, Leo, that's the character's name, gets back in the space ball, goes through the cloud, lands in what seems to be the Lincoln Memorial, but instead it's actually a memorial for General Thade. And then a bunch of police cars and everything pull up, and they're all apes. Every single last one of them, and then the movie ends. So, I remember when I first watched this at school, right? The first time I watched this, I was very confused. I was like, oh my God. Now, I wonder how they're going to follow this up. Well, I spent the better part of 10 years waiting for a sequel until they decided, they announced Rise of the Planet Apes, and I said, finally, we're going to get a continuation of this. And it's like, nope, it's another remake. It's another reboot. It's not no. And I went, but here's the thing. They could have been very smart about this, right? Right. So here's the situation. You have Rise. You have, was it Rise something in War, right? Imagine this. The apes, that there's an uprising, the humans fall, the apes, they get smarter and they get smarter, right? And let's say you do this trilogy, and let's not, like, I understand that the new ones, they do time jumps between films that aren't needed. So you could have done something. The first one, have that end the way it is, saying this virus is going to take over. Have it be a year later, the virus is starting to take hold. There are only a few humans left. The apes have become sentient, right? And uh, be very, very simple. I thought an idea. Instead of Caesar, here's what happened. In modern time, 2011, a space pod crashes on Earth. Inside is an intelligent gorilla named Thade. So, okay, here's the thing. So they're testing on Caesar, right? So we start off normal, Rise, like the way it was. But they find they have this serum. They know where they're getting it from. And then we find out, towards the end of the movie, that, that even James Franco doesn't know where it's from. So him and what's her name? Frito-Lay's potato chips, whatever her name is, right? Frida Pinto, right? They do some research and find out that there's actually was a sentient gorilla that crash landed on Earth. And when they find it, it's General Thade. Whether or not you get Tim Roth to come back, or maybe you just have him do a voiceover thing for a CGI thing. Who knows? But I put doing CGI. You find out that that's what happens. And not only is it making the apes smarter, but it causes a virus that is starting to eradicate humans here and there. Relegating them to lesser forms. Right? Second film, it's more of that. Maybe there are a few humans left. There's like a resistance. There's a battle. And the result of all this injection, Thade is passed. Maybe he passes in the third one. Caesar is the leader, and Thade is kind of a mentor of sorts. And then you get to war, which is the final straw, and the battle happens, and the apes come out on top, right? But Thade dies, and they dedicate a monument to him. They demolish the Lincoln Monument. They add that, right? Trying to make sense of this ending. And they have the monument. Everything is ready to go. And then we say 1 year after the events of war, right? 1 year later, cut to footage from Tim Burton's film. Thing crashes. Mark Wahlberg shows up, and we've connected to that. And then we can follow with a sequel, with a fourth film, well, now fifth film, that's called the sequel to that Planet of the, maybe Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is the new one, is, let's see, if we're going by when that came out, so 2011 and 2013, then, what was it, 2018? Wasn't it? Something like that. Now in 2024. So that is 23 years after the events of the first film. Mark Wahlberg is still there. He's a prisoner of the gorillas. We would have to do a time jump unless you're going to de-age Mark Wahlberg or something. Who knows? But I don't know. It would be something. They end with that footage from that film. You know, who knows? Or you can recast him and reshoot that ending with a different actor or something. You know, I don't know. It's it's a way to connect those, I guess. But we never got a sequel to this because it did not do very good. I I already said that it's not a good movie, but do I think it's outright bad? No. It has its good parts. I think the acting, for the most part, Stella Warren, is pretty good. The effects are damn good. The overall world building, done real well. Did it need 3 twists? No. But 2 of the 3 twists work. Them, being descendants of the people of the space station, and the apes that run the PlayStation, the space station, not the PlayStation, the space station. That works. Heracles showing up after Leo, that works too. But the ending, no. It was supposedly something that Burton just threw in there just to say that's for whoever's doing a sequel. But, maybe the joke's on him, or maybe not. Maybe Fox looked at that and said, hell no, there's no way we're following that up. And do I think they could have followed that up? Well, if they did what I said they should have done, yeah. But if they were just going to do a straight up sequel to that, they could, I guess, start with him as a prisoner, right? In a jail, and then kind of try to figure out a story of how you're going to explain this. There are theories that Thade found another pod, launched himself through, and landed before Leo, somehow triggered an uprising. Again, much like my idea for, that maybe they use his DNA to create. Maybe it was my idea. Maybe it was kind of my idea for the Rise. They used his DNA to create sentient gorillas, and yeah, and that's what happened, man. Something similar. Who knows? It works, I guess. As far as this goes, I'll give it a middle of the road. It's not bad. There's some good stuff to it. I never thought this movie was terrible. It's decently made, I think. I never hated this movie. Everybody just shits on it and stuff, and it's not really terrible. It's just okay. That's why it's in the middle of the road. So, yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the Planet of the Apes 2001? In the comments, you should like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and come along with me for this Remake-A-Thon.